welcome back. Today, we are going to explore something that affects every part of your life, even when you do not notice it. It affects your confidence, your choices, your habits, and even your future. That thing is your thinking. Every single day, your mind is active. From morning until night, thoughts continue moving inside your head. Some thoughts help you grow. Some thoughts quietly hold you back. Most people never stop to ask an important question. What are my thoughts doing to my life? The answer is simple. Your thoughts slowly become your reality. If you constantly think that you are weak, your actions become weak. If you believe that improvement is possible, you begin to move forward little by little. Your mind is not only creating ideas, it is shaping the direction of your life. In this video, you will learn how thinking influences your emotions, your behavior, and your future. Everything will be explained in very easy and natural English so you can understand clearly and apply it in your own life. Let's begin. The first thing you need to understand is this. Your thoughts come before your results. Every action starts inside the mind. Before you speak, before you try, before you quit, there is already a thought inside you. That thought creates a feeling. Then the feeling creates an action. Finally, your actions create your results. So the pattern looks like this. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings create actions. Actions create life. This is why thinking is so important. Many people allow negative thoughts to control them without realizing it. They repeat things like, "I am not talented," "I always fail," "Nothing will change for me." At first, these are only sentences, but after hearing them again and again, the mind accepts them as truth. Once the mind believes something, behavior begins to change. Imagine someone who believes he is not confident. Because of that belief, he avoids speaking. He stays quiet around people. He stops trying new things. Over time, his confidence becomes even weaker. Not because he was born weak, but because his thinking trained him to live that way. Now imagine another person who thinks differently. He says, "I may not be confident yet, but I can improve." Because of this thought, he practices, he speaks more often, he accepts mistakes and keeps learning. Slowly, confidence grows. The outside world may look similar for both people, but their thinking creates different lives. Your mind works like a garden. Every thought is like a seed. If you continue planting fear, doubt, and negative thinking, your mental garden will fill with stress and weakness. But if you plant patience, confidence, and positive effort, healthier habits begin to grow. The important thing is this. If you do not choose your thoughts carefully, negative thinking can grow automatically. That is why you must become more aware of what you allow inside your mind.
A lot of people believe positive thinking is fake or unrealistic. They think positive thinking means pretending everything is perfect. But real positive thinking is not pretending. It simply means choosing a healthier direction. Instead of saying, "I can never do this," you say, "I can improve with practice." Instead of saying, "I always fail," you say, "I am still learning." These small changes may sound simple, but they change the way your mind reacts to challenges. You cannot completely stop negative thoughts from appearing. Every human being experiences them, but you can choose whether to feed them or replace them. When a negative thought enters your mind, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me grow? If the answer is no, guide your mind toward a better thought. This takes practice. Your brain does not change overnight. Just like the body becomes stronger through exercise, the mind becomes stronger through repetition. That is why daily mental training matters. Simple sentences repeated every day can slowly reshape the way you think. I am learning. I can improve. I will continue trying. I do not need to be perfect. At first, these words may feel unfamiliar, but repetition changes belief. Before any success appears in real life, it usually begins inside the mind first. People who achieve something meaningful often believe improvement is possible before they see results. Belief creates effort. Effort creates progress. One common mistake many people make is waiting for life to improve before changing their mindset. They say, when things get better, I will feel more positive. But often the opposite is true. Life begins to improve when your thinking begins to improve. You can start practicing this today. Pay attention to your thoughts for one full day. Notice how you speak to yourself in difficult moments. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, do not immediately accept it as truth. Replace it with something more useful and realistic. Small mental changes, repeated daily, can slowly change the direction of your life. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful: the way you speak to yourself. Every day, you are having a conversation inside your mind. This inner voice is called self-talk, and whether you notice it or not, it strongly affects your confidence and behavior. Your mind listens carefully to the words you repeat. If you constantly tell yourself, I am bad at this, your brain begins to believe it. Then your actions follow that belief. Think about someone learning English. If they keep saying, my English is terrible, they may become nervous during conversations. They avoid speaking because they already expect failure. Over time, they stop improving because fear controls their behavior. But if the same person says, I am improving every day, the mind reacts differently. The pressure becomes smaller, practice becomes easier, confidence slowly begins to grow. Your mind responds strongly to repetition. What you repeat often becomes your belief, and what you believe influences the way you live. So be careful with your inner voice. Speak to yourself with patience instead of constant criticism. Support yourself the same way you would support a close friend who is trying to improve. That does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means encouraging growth instead of creating hopelessness. Morning and night are especially powerful moments for your mind. When you wake up and before you sleep, your brain is more open to suggestion. Use those moments wisely. Spend a few minutes repeating calm and supportive thoughts to yourself. I am growing. I can learn. I will continue moving forward. Over time, these thoughts begin shaping your mindset in a healthier way. Your future is influenced not only by what you do, but also by what you repeatedly tell yourself every day. Another important truth about the mind is this: whatever you focus on becomes stronger in your life. Your attention is powerful. Every day, your mind is looking at something, thinking about something, worrying about something, or improving something. The direction of your focus slowly changes the direction of your life. Think of your mind like a flashlight in a dark room. Wherever you point the light, that area becomes clear and important. Your attention works the same way. If you constantly focus on fear, fear grows. If you focus on problems all day, problems begin to feel bigger than they really are. But if you focus on growth, learning, and solutions, your energy begins moving in a better direction. Most people never train their attention. Their minds jump from one negative thought to another. They spend hours thinking about mistakes, worrying about opinions, comparing themselves to others, or imagining failure before they even begin.
Slowly, this creates mental exhaustion. Now, imagine two different people. The first person keeps focusing on what is missing in life. He thinks, nothing works for me, everything is difficult, I have no opportunity. Because of this focus, his motivation becomes weaker. He stops trying, he delays action. His life becomes smaller. The second person asks different questions. What can I improve today? What step can I take right now? This person is not pretending life is perfect. He still has problems, but his attention stays connected to action and progress. Because of that, he continues moving forward. The world may be the same, but focus creates different experiences. Your emotions often follow your focus. When you spend all day focusing on failure, stress increases. When you focus on learning and solutions, your mind becomes calmer and more active. This is why controlling attention is so important.
Negative focus can become dangerous when it turns into a habit. The brain naturally notices problems because it is trying to protect you. But if you never guide your attention, fear begins controlling your thinking. You start saying things like, I will fail, people will judge me, I am not good enough. After some time, these thoughts begin affecting your actions. People who achieve meaningful success usually train their focus carefully. They do not ignore difficulties, but they do not stay trapped inside them either. Instead of asking, why is my life like this? They often ask, what can I do next? That one question changes the direction of the mind. You cannot fully control which thoughts appear, but you can guide your attention after they appear. When negative thinking starts, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this helping me improve or only making me afraid? Then shift your focus towards something useful. Instead of thinking, I failed, think, what did this experience teach me? Instead of saying, this is impossible, ask, what small step can I take? These small mental shifts may look simple, but they completely change your emotional direction. Another important thing to remember is this. Fear grows when action becomes smaller. The more you sit and only think about problems, the bigger they feel. But when you focus on action, fear slowly loses power. So, whenever your mind becomes heavy with overthinking, ask yourself one simple question. What can I do right now? Then do something small. One small action is often more powerful than hours of worrying. Maybe you practice English for 10 minutes. Maybe you write one paragraph. Maybe you study one lesson. Maybe you speak one sentence with confidence. Small action keeps the mind moving forward. It is also important to stop wasting energy on things you cannot control. You cannot change the past. You cannot control every opinion people have about you. You cannot make everyone understand your journey. But you can control your effort, your habits, and your mindset. Strong people focus their energy there. Now, let's move to another powerful idea. Your beliefs create your limits. A belief is not just a passing thought. A belief is a thought repeated so many times that the mind accepts it as truth. For example, I am not smart. I always fail. I can never become confident. These are not facts, they are beliefs. And beliefs are powerful because they control behavior. If you believe something is impossible for you, you often stop trying before you even begin. Your belief becomes an invisible wall. Imagine two students learning English. The first student believes, I am bad at languages. Because of this belief, he avoids practice. He becomes nervous while speaking. He stays silent. Months pass and nothing changes. The second student believes, I can improve slowly with practice. Because of this belief, she continues trying even when mistakes happen. Over time, her skills improve naturally. Different belief, different behavior, different future.
Many beliefs are created during childhood or through repeated experiences. Sometimes one embarrassing moment becomes a permanent mental label. Someone laughs at your mistake once, and suddenly your mind says, "I am not good enough." But one moment should never decide your identity. Negative beliefs shrink your world. They make you afraid to try. They reduce confidence before action even begins. But positive beliefs create openness. They make learning possible. Successful people often understand something important. Belief usually comes before results. Many people say, "I will believe in myself after I succeed." But growth usually works the opposite way. First, you believe improvement is possible. Then you continue acting. Then results slowly appear. Changing beliefs takes time, but it is possible. Start by noticing the beliefs you repeat most often. Ask yourself, what do I keep telling myself? Is this really true, or is this only an old fear? Then begin replacing weak beliefs with stronger ones. I can learn. I can improve. I am growing step by step. Repeat these thoughts consistently and support them with action, because action strengthens belief. If you tell yourself you are becoming disciplined, then complete one small task every day, your mind starts collecting proof. Slowly, the new belief becomes more real. Your beliefs are not permanent. They can change through repetition, awareness, and daily action. The limits inside your mind are often smaller than the possibilities in your future. Now, let's talk about action. Many people spend years thinking about changing their life, but very few people actually begin. They wait for confidence. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until fear disappears. But real growth usually starts before you feel fully ready. Your actions always follow your thinking. If your mind constantly says, "I cannot do this," your body reacts with hesitation. You delay work. You avoid challenges. You make excuses. Slowly, your life becomes controlled by fear instead of progress. But when your thinking changes, your actions begin changing too. If you start saying, "I can learn," your body reacts differently. You begin trying. You practice more. You become willing to make mistakes. And step by step, your confidence grows. Small actions matter more than most people realize. A lot of people imagine life changing through one huge moment. But real improvement usually begins with very small decisions repeated daily. One day you decide to wake up earlier. One day you practice English for 15 minutes. One day you stop wasting an hour on useless distractions. One day you write your goals clearly. These actions may look small, but repeated actions slowly build a new identity. Your brain needs proof. If you only repeat positive words without action, your mind eventually stops believing them. But when your actions support your words, the brain begins accepting a new reality. For example, if you say, "I am becoming disciplined," and then you complete one important task every day, your mind collects evidence. Slowly, confidence becomes stronger because now your actions match your thinking. This is why action is so powerful. Thoughts begin the process, but actions make change real. Many people also make the mistake of waiting for confidence before starting. They say, "I will practice when I feel confident." But confidence usually comes after action, not before it. First you try, then you improve, then confidence grows. That is the natural order. If you wait forever to feel ready, you may never begin. Sometimes one small action is enough to change the direction of your entire day. When you move forward, even in a small way, your mind starts learning something important. I can do difficult things. I can improve. I am not stuck.
This is how stronger identity is created. Your thoughts are like instructions to your body. If your inner message says hide, delay, avoid, your life becomes smaller. But if your inner message says try, begin, continue, your life starts moving. This is why your daily self-talk matters so much. Another dangerous habit is overthinking. Overthinking happens when the mind keeps analyzing problems without taking action. You imagine failure, you replay mistakes, you worry about future situations that may never happen. After hours of thinking, nothing changes because action never happened. Thinking alone cannot transform life. Action is necessary. So whenever you notice yourself trapped inside endless thinking, stop and ask one simple question. What is one small thing I can do right now? Then do it immediately. A tiny action is more powerful than a huge plan that never starts. Reading one page matters. Speaking one sentence matters. Saving a small amount of money matters. Practicing for 10 minutes matters. Small action repeated daily creates long-term transformation. Over time, repeated actions shape identity. When you study consistently, you begin seeing yourself as a learner. When you practice daily, you begin seeing yourself as disciplined. When you continue speaking despite mistakes, you begin seeing yourself as confident. Identity grows through repeated behavior. That is why consistency matters more than intensity. Motivational feelings come and go. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you feel tired or discouraged. If your progress depends only on mood, you will stop often. But discipline allows progress even on difficult days.
Strong people are not always motivated. They simply continue moving. Now, let's discuss something else that shapes your thinking deeply, your environment. Many people believe their thoughts are completely personal, but a large part of your thinking comes from what surrounds you every day. Your environment includes the people around you, the conversations you hear, the videos you watch, the content you consume, and the energy you live around. All these things slowly enter your mind. Imagine spending every day around people who complain constantly. They say things like, life never changes, success is impossible, nothing is worth trying. After some time, your own thinking may start becoming negative too. Now imagine spending time around people who encourage growth. They discuss goals, learning, discipline, and improvement. Slowly, your mindset begins changing in a healthier direction. Environment influences thinking more than most people realize. Your mind absorbs information even when you are not paying attention carefully. The music you hear, the social media you watch, the conversations you repeat, all of it leaves a mark inside your mind. That is why negative environments can become dangerous. They create doubt, fear, and hopeless thinking. They slowly reduce your belief in yourself. This is why protecting your mental environment is important. You do not need a perfect life to create a healthier mindset. Even if your surroundings are difficult, you can still choose better mental input. You can choose better content. You can choose educational videos. You can choose useful books. You can choose conversations that encourage growth instead of constant negativity. Little by little, your environment begins influencing your habits in a better way. You also need to reduce unnecessary negativity whenever possible. Spend less time with people who constantly destroy motivation. Spend less time consuming content that leaves you mentally tired. Protect your attention carefully. What enters your mind repeatedly eventually becomes your thinking. That is why successful people often guard their environment carefully. They understand that thoughts are shaped by repeated exposure. Your habits create your future, and your environment strongly influences your habits. So, if you want a healthier mind, Begin by changing what you allow around you every day. There is another truth many people avoid accepting. You spend too much time worrying about other people. What will they think about me? What if I fail in front of others? What if I fail in front of others? Because of these thoughts, many people stop themselves before they even begin. They stay quiet when they want to speak. They hide their ideas. They delay their goals. Slowly, they start living according to fear instead of personal growth. But here's something important to understand. Most people are not thinking about you as much as you imagine. Everyone is busy with their own problems, their own insecurities, and their own life. While you are spending hours worrying about people's opinions, most of them are focused on themselves. This is why fear of judgment wastes so much energy. When your attention stays trapped in other people's opinions, confidence becomes weaker. You stop taking action because you want approval first. But growth rarely happens when you live only to please others. You must shift your focus inward. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" ask yourself, "What kind of person do I want to become?" That question changes everything. Another difficult truth is this: nobody is coming to completely change your life for you. No one will suddenly appear and build your confidence. No one will practice for you. No one will fix your habits every day. Your future is your responsibility. At first, this idea may sound hard, but it is also powerful because it means you still have control over your direction. Imagine someone who wants to improve their English but stays silent because they fear judgment. Years pass and nothing changes. Now, imagine another person who decides, "People may judge me, but I will continue practicing anyway." That person improves because action becomes more important than fear. The situation may be similar, but the mindset creates a different future. When you stop depending on approval from others, you begin feeling mentally free. You start taking action because your focus moves towards growth instead of constant validation. A lot of people wait for support before believing in themselves. They want someone else to tell them they are capable. But self-belief often begins internally. You must learn to encourage yourself. You must learn to support your own growth. You must become responsible for your own improvement. This does not mean ignoring advice or refusing help from others. It simply means your life cannot depend completely on outside approval. The strongest growth often begins when you decide to take responsibility for your future. Now let's move to one of the most important lessons in this entire discussion. You must become the master of your mind. Most people are controlled by every thought that appears inside their head. If the mind says, "I am tired," they stop immediately. If the mind says, "Do it tomorrow," they delay. If the mind says, "This is too difficult," they quit. They obey every emotion without questioning it. But your mind is not always correct. Sometimes thoughts come from fear. Sometimes they come from habit. Sometimes they come from comfort. Not every thought deserves control over your behavior. One of the most powerful things you can learn is this: you are not your thoughts. You are the person observing your thoughts. That means you choose which thoughts to follow and which thoughts to ignore. Imagine your mind says, "Skip practice today." Most people listen immediately, but a disciplined person pauses and says, "I understand this feeling, but I will still continue." That is mental control. Control does not mean becoming emotionless. It means refusing to let temporary feelings completely control your future.
At first, this may feel difficult because the mind naturally prefers comfort. It wants easy pleasure. It wants to avoid effort. But every time you choose action over excuses, your mental strength grows a little more. Just like muscles become stronger through training, self-control becomes stronger through practice. You do not become disciplined in one day. It happens gradually through repeated choices. A useful habit is learning to pause before reacting. When a negative thought appears, do not immediately follow it. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it stopping me? If it is stopping you, choose a better response. This simple pause creates awareness, and awareness creates control. Your daily choices slowly shape your identity. If you continue practicing discipline, you begin seeing yourself as disciplined. If you continue following excuses, your mind accepts weakness as normal. Your identity grows from repeated behavior. Another important thing to understand is this: mood changes constantly. Some mornings you feel motivated, some days you feel tired, some days your energy is low. If your actions depend completely on mood, your progress will become inconsistent. But discipline allows movement even during difficult days. Successful people are not always emotionally strong. Often, they simply continue acting even when motivation disappears. That is what creates long-term progress. Your mind is a tool. It should support your goals, not control your life completely. You are the decision maker. The thoughts inside your head are signals, not commands. You always have a choice about what action comes next. So today, begin observing your mind more carefully. Notice the thoughts you repeat. Notice the excuses you automatically believe. Notice the fears controlling your behavior. Then, slowly begin changing them. Replace weak thinking with stronger thinking. Replace overthinking with action. Replace fear with practice. Replace excuses with discipline. Your life changes step by step through repeated mental habits. Remember this clearly. Your future is not built only by luck or talent. It is shaped daily by your thinking, your focus, your beliefs, and your actions. If you continue thinking small, your world may stay small. But when your thinking begins changing, your behavior begins changing too. And when behavior changes consistently, life begins changing little by little. So do not only listen to these ideas, apply them. Start with one better thought, take one small action, repeat it tomorrow, then continue again the next day. Because real transformation does not happen in one perfect moment. It happens through small choices repeated consistently over time. Thank you for spending this time with us today. Keep learning, keep improving, and keep moving forward one step at a time. And if this video helped you in any way, continue your journey with us in the next video. See you again soon.